Between right now and the end of the year, we have more than 30 permanent supportive housing projects that will be completed. It used to be that we had 4 a year, and in a little over a month, we will have 30, almost one a day. I'm filled with optimism with the election of Mayor-elect Bass, somebody who has been committed to health and public health her entire career, who will be, I think, the first medical professional ever sitting here as mayor of our city. And her commitment, I know, to housing our unhoused and providing them services will be unmatched. I'm filled with tremendous optimism because of the team that is here that recognizes that people who are unhoused are just that. There are no class of folks called the homeless. There are people who are unhoused, people who experience addiction, people who struggle with mental health and physical ailments. But we've got the solution, and it's right here. And I'm filled with tremendous optimism finally with the passage of United to House Los Angeles, the largest measure in U.S. history to ever pass at the local level, which beat the second highest ever passed, which was HHH, to house and to prevent people from becoming, to house the unhoused and to prevent people from becoming unhoused in the first place. So I'm filled with a lot of optimism as we announce today a really important move forward in our fight to end homelessness here in the city of Los Angeles. And I want to thank everybody for joining us here as we double down on a proven strategy, a group of angels who are surrounding us here who every single day go out to those in the greatest need on our streets to bring health, to bring hope, and ultimately to bring housing to our unhoused neighbors. That literally meets them where they are with the healthcare needs that they have. Starting last year, the USC Street Medicine Program sent out a team of healthcare professionals 5 days a week to here around downtown Civic Center, to Lincoln Heights and Boyle Heights, and to University Park around County USC Hospital. This team is made up of doctors, nurses, physician assistants, community health workers who have been working so hard to provide healthcare to Angelinos experiencing homelessness. We have tremendous street teams around the city, and I want to thank them for their work too. They'll often set up a mobile clinic and help people that are out there, doctors who go straight out to people. But USC's is unique because it doesn't just wait for people, even in a given neighborhood where people are unhoused, to come to them. It goes one by one to each patient that they serve. And whether it's providing wound care, diagnosing and treating diabetes, hypertension, frostbite, an STD, supporting someone with a psychiatric illness or substance use disorder, they are there in person. I've gone out with the teams and I've seen the rapport that they have, the trust that they've established, their ability to deal with and make sure that folks are taking their medicines, give both physical ailment treatment as well as mental ailment treatment. It's truly life-saving work. And today I'm proud to announce that the city of Los Angeles, beginning in January, will expand this from 1 team to 3 teams. We're going to cover new neighborhoods, so downtown and East LA near the Civic Center still, Lincoln Heights and Boyle Heights, but now more of South LA and also for the first time in Hollywood. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge the team that has gotten us here. First of all, my dear friend, Councilmember Nithya Raman, who is here with us today, and her team, who have taken a service-based approach to serving our unhoused. I want to thank Curran Price, Mitch O'Farrell, Marquise Harris-Dawson, all of whom offered their partnership and support for this program, and we wouldn't be here without them. I want to thank Brett. Was Brett behind us? Where did Brett go? Right here. Brett Feldman, who did this work in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, but he's the director and co-founder of this extraordinary team, and I was able to go out with him and see that work. Dr. Camilo Zaks, who helps oversee it, and the entire USC medical team that is here as well. I also want to single out Che Ramirez, who is the extraordinary deputy mayor for our city homeless initiatives and beloved across council offices and communities, and does such an extraordinary job. Thank you, Che, to you and your entire team. And to our partners at the Office of the CAO, our city administrative officer, we have ideas, but then they find money, and we couldn't do it without Matt Szabo and his team. Yeah, go ahead, give them a round of applause too. We launched this program last year with money from our Community Development Block Grant. This is money that we get from the federal government to cut poverty, and there's no poverty more intense than being unhoused. But we're taking this partnership one step further by investing $1.09 million in what's called HAP funds. These are state funds, and I want to thank Governor Newsom and our legislature for moving those flexible funds forward. I know that you covered in the news when there was a move to kind of put those on hold, and last week the governor announced they would be moving forward, and I want to thank Governor Newsom and his team for that. That's allowing us to expand 2 additional teams to the 1 team we have right now. We know that living on the streets is extremely difficult. It takes an enormous toll on people's health and well-being. Instead of a life expectancy of 78 years, it's between 42 and 52 years. It literally takes decades off of people's lives. And about 38% of people who are out on the streets have a major medical illness. 1 in 4 people, at least, experiencing homelessness have a severe mental illness. So we can't talk about getting people into housing if we're also not meeting their medical needs as well. And when we have profound unmet needs, if we don't have diagnosis, if we don't have treatment, if the symptoms grow worse every single day, it becomes more expensive to treat, or even worse, can result in people's death. Too many people die on our streets. These are literally lifesavers, and this program is life-saving. So in making those rounds on the streets of LA, this team provided extensive medical and health care to almost 300 people. And that means follow-up visits. They've been able to do things like ultrasounds on the street. They've been able to make sure, as I said, people have their medicine. And with the expanded teams, we expect that the USC Street Medicine program will serve about 900 patients once we are at full capacity. And that will complement other efforts that we have, our circle teams, our housing navigators, and others who can come together to make sure that a referral is real. And Brett put it well that there's trauma on the streets, and it's often trauma of people who have been outreached to so many times by so many different people that they don't trust that when somebody comes to them that anything will come of it. But when your doctor, or your nurse, or your physician's assistant visits you time and time again, you establish a level of trust that's deeper, that's different, and that we believe can result in even more effective referrals. We'll be rolling circle teams out in more places in the city as well, Northeast Valley next month, to South LA early next year, and we're looking at how these teams can work together. Since circle teams are there 24/7 and really establish that same trusted rapport as well. And we know that we can improve health outcomes, assure safety and stability in housing, and make sure that every Angelino can come home. I know we've got Spanish, so let me say a couple words in Spanish as well, and then I'll introduce our council member. Estamos aquí hoy para anunciar la expansión de una estrategia que sigue brindando salud y esperanza a nuestros vecinos sin vivienda. Desde el año pasado, el programa de medicina urbana de USC ha estado enviando un equipo de médicos, enfermeros y asistentes médicos para proporcionar atención médica a angelinos que sufren la falta de vivienda en las calles de Los Ángeles. Y hoy estamos anunciando la expansión de 1 a 3 equipos y a nuevos vecindarios para que cubran el centro y el este de Los Ángeles, cerca del centro cívico, Lincoln Heights y Boyle Heights, más del sur de Los Ángeles y por primera vez en Hollywood. Estos equipos nos ayudarán a mejorar las condiciones de salud de las personas viviendo en nuestras calles y también pondrán en camino hacia obtener la estabilidad de un hogar. Estos equipos pueden trabajar juntos con nuevos equipos de Circle y otras facilidades que nosotros tenemos, acercándonos a nuestro objetivo de darle un techno a todo angelino. And with that, let me turn it over to a great champion for social justice, somebody who has helped house so many people in her district, but whose policies extend well beyond the 4th Council District. Please welcome Councilmember Nithya Raman.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you so much to this mayor and his office for all their support for this effort and for its expansion, as well as the incredible USC Street Medicine team standing right behind me, helping us raise awareness about this critical program. When I first heard about the USC Street Medicine program, I was in awe. A team of nimble physicians and nurses who are able to provide individualized care to people experiencing unsheltered homelessness no matter where they are. That is an incredible feat in the city of Los Angeles. I go out and I talk to constituents all the time about homelessness. And one of the most frequent questions that I get is, don't people want to stay out here? Don't people want to be homeless? The reality in Los Angeles couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is that in this city, we still do not have enough shelter beds and enough care to help navigate people who are experiencing severe crises from their encampments into a home. The care that the street medicine team offers is exactly filling that gap, can bring us closer to the goal of being able to get every single person who is on the streets here in Los Angeles today into a home. This type of care can mean the difference between life and death. Studies have shown repeatedly that people are more likely to accept referrals to life-saving treatment or shelter if they feel safe and cared for. I want to talk about one story that I heard from the USC street medicine team, which touched me and I think sheds a little bit of light to this situation. They tell a story about a man named Orlando, an unsheltered individual living in Lincoln Heights. Orlando was 69 years old, skeptical of help, but gradually came to know the street medicine team and accept medical care. After one particularly rainy and tough evening, it became clear to everyone, including him, that his tent wouldn't hold up. The street medicine team tried to help him duct tape it together, but it fell apart. After years of refusing any offer of shelter that day, for the first time, with the assistance of these caregivers, he let the team take him in to a Project Room Key site, and he spent his first night indoors and in a bed in 27 years. Since then, the USC team has assisted him with his medical care, connected him with mental health resources, and watched him as he emerged into a new person. They sang his birthday, brought him his favorite cake, and sang to him with everyone else at that Project Room Key site. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment. But stories like Orlando's do not have to be an anomaly here in Los Angeles. By scaling up a system like this, programs like these that can embrace people who need shelter and who need care, with the city that we know can offer it right to them, we can solve this crisis here in this city. We are entering a new era in Los Angeles, one with the support of the dollars from ULA that I hope will afford us the opportunity to jump at every chance to implement this kind of system. Today in Council, my hope is that we will vote to expand this program for just 2 districts to 6, paving the way for a new approach to homelessness here in Los Angeles. Thank you all for being a part of this movement for a better tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Councilmember. Those powerful words. When I went out with Brett and Mike and Corinne, it was awesome. And by the way, Corinne, now that you're going to have a physician's assistant as mayor, I hope you're thinking about running for mayor after her time. But we have an amazing team that I witnessed firsthand. Their skill, their emotional intelligence, and just their strategic approach. So often we do things to help people who are unhoused that are kind acts, but don't move the ball forward. And as you heard from the council member, this truly is game-changing work. And so I'd like to invite Brett Feldman up to speak about this, as I mentioned, something that he did first in Philadelphia and brought out here, founded this. You truly have been an angel in the city of angels. If I had a key to the city right now, I'd give you one. But I only have 11 days left, so they might be tough to forge. But anybody who can withstand this kind of cold and short sleeves is clearly from the East Coast and a great doctor and a great visionary. Brett Feldman.
Thank you. As Mayor Garcetti said, my name is Brett. I'm the director for the Division of Street Medicine at USC. And I want to start by giving a special thank you to the Mayor Garcetti and his office, as well as Councilmember Raman, for giving us the opportunity to expand street medicine in the city of LA, to love and care for even more Angelinos experiencing homelessness, as well as also a special thank you to our team at USC. Behind me and over there, you inspire me every day with the way that you walk in solidarity with the people we serve. And so with the expansion of street medicine in LA, the city has made a very definitive statement on how we'll be caring for our neighbors experiencing homelessness. They'll be cared for holistically, honoring their sacred humanity, of course, providing for their material poverty for want of a home, but also for their poverty of health, that physical health or psychiatric health that prevents them from ever walking over the threshold into housing, and if not taken care of properly, from being able to maintain that housing and coming back out onto the street. But even though they have nothing, the worst poverty of all is that spiritual poverty of feeling unwanted or unloved by anybody. A poverty only made worse every time a neighbor calls to have another neighbor's encampment moved, and without the feeling of belonging in a city that they call their own. Or every time a neighbor locks the restroom on another neighbor, forcing them into the dehumanizing act of open defecation. But I believe that we've been called for more, to love and to be loved. And so in street medicine, we go to the people, first to deliver a tender love in recognition of that sacred humanity, in solidarity with them, and with mutual trust. And then the same quality of care on the street that you'd expect in a brick and mortar clinic, delivered under the bridges, in the riverbeds, across the street where we are, down the street. But we know that healthcare is much more than an office visit, even if that office is on the street. So we dispense medications, draw labs, we do ultrasound on the street, of course, care for mental illness and substance use disorder. We also have a concern for public health and safety. So we monitor for outbreaks of COVID, lice, scabies, syphilis, typhus, whatever comes out there, as well as things essential for human dignity, like access to clean water, food, showers, and a restroom. And so I know what you're thinking. Well, how do we solve this homeless crisis? And perhaps I can give at least a new place to start. And we'll start with NIMBYs that say, not in my backyard, take them out with the trash that they brought in. And we will flip the script and say, yes, we agree. We cannot tolerate homelessness in our backyard, but we need to separate the person from their housing status, to hate homelessness with everything that we have, but to love the person even more. And this was a lesson that was taught to me actually right behind us over at City Hall East. And you guys know City Hall East because you're here, right? So it's the raised flower beds or with the trees coming up. And the first time I met David, I thought he was a pile of trash. Mike was with me. And I walked by what I thought was a pile of trash, and it kind of rustled. And up David popped. And he was just going around in circles, alternating between yelling and muttering, yelling and muttering. And we were just kind of watching him, seeing what would happen next. And he walked over to one of those flower beds and started yelling and muttering into the flower bed, which was our chance to come sit with him. So I sat with him, and very patiently over the next 20 minutes, this is what he was able to tell me. I would take less than 20 minutes to tell you. I found out that he was itching all over the place, especially on his head, which hurt, that he thought might be bleeding because he was itching so hard. He told me that it would be okay for me to take a look, and he wanted me to take a picture of his head on my phone so I can show him. I saw that he just had lice everywhere, and in fact, his head was infested with lice and was bleeding. So I explained to him that typically we would be giving him a cream and he would have a shower, but there was none available at the time. So we would give him a medication called ivermectin, which did exist prior to COVID. And so I asked him to wait and went over to my truck and got out the ivermectin with a water bottle. And I didn't know if he would take it because he continued doing his thing with the yelling and mumbling. And I gave it to him and he took it and then continued yelling and mumbling. And so I thought, well, I guess we're done, and started walking away. And he went over and grabbed me and brought me back and went like this, like, wait. And he went over into the riverbed, or into the flower bed, searching through the flower bed, and he picked out this rock. And he's looking at the rock, examining the rock, comes over to me, takes my hand, puts the rock in my hand, closes it, and then goes on doing his thing. And now this rock is one of my most prized possessions. There's no inherent value in the rock, but I wouldn't sell it to any of you for anything. This rock is so precious to me because I think what David saw was that we were trying to tell him that we loved him through street medicine. And he was trying to find something else to tell us that he loved us too, and chose this rock. And I've seen people use different vehicles to deliver that same love all over the world on the street, whether they're barbers and they're cutting hair, veterinarians taking care of the animals out there, different vehicles, but same precious cargo. And so there's our answer. You see, love has not been tried and found to fail, but rather found to be hard and left untried. And we all have different vehicles. Ours is street medicine. I know exactly what I'm going to do when I leave here. We're going to start 2 new street medicine teams and deploy them in LA, thanks to you. But we have different vehicles. Maybe you're the mayor. Maybe you're on city council. Maybe you have the power of the pen or the power of video. So how will you use your vehicle to deliver that same tender love on the streets so that anybody will know exactly what you're doing, just like David taught us?
All right, we'll give you 10 times as much. Thank you, truly, Brett. I've talked for 21 years of my time as a public servant, elected public servant, about leading with love, and you embody that. And thank you for using those words in that frame. And I hope you all understand, and I invite, I'm sure USC would be happy to accommodate you with, patient protections and all that, to come out sometime and actually see if any of you want to come out on the streets and actually experience that, to get that word out to more people and to humanize the human beings that really this is about. So we're so pleased. With that, have a blessed day, everybody, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks.